I'm going to start with a question that I've asked a bunch of women in this room already, but I want to hear from the three of you. Navya, I'm going to start with you and we'll go around. For starters, can you share a defining moment in your journey that has shaped who you are today?
That's a tough first question to answer, but thank you for having me, Forbes and L'Oreal. I think it's been, like everyone said before me, a very inspiring evening, getting to hear a lot of women who I've personally looked up to through this entire journey of being an entrepreneur. So it actually feels surreal being in the same room as them. But thank you for having me, and I think, I don't know, a defining moment that kind of has led me to where I am today, but I can talk about a defining conversation that changed my perspective on a lot of things. I work mainly with women entrepreneurs. We, support them with access to business resources and community and a lot more things. And I think for the longest time, my definition of a woman entrepreneur was very clear cut and very concise as to this is what an entrepreneur means. It means to be, the loudest voice in the room, or be, someone wearing a suit and standing in a boardroom. It means someone who's, started a business that's got 100 crore turnover. And there were very clear definitions as to what an entrepreneur meant to me. And a conversation with my grandmother really changed my perspective on that, because I asked her about her life and her career. She's someone who, is juggling multiple different careers at the same time. Plays many different roles, and I asked her that, you being an entrepreneur, how do you define one? And she actually completely changed my definition of that by telling me that the biggest and strongest entrepreneurs are actually right at home, not in the boardrooms. And our moms, our grandmoms, the women at home are actually the best entrepreneurs that this country has seen or the world has seen, because the way they manage a family is very similar to how you would manage an entire organization. The way you negotiate at home, the way you time manage, and the skills and qualities that women at home have, which is empathy, compassion. The previous panel talked about empathetic leadership, and I think these are qualities that today's leaders and entrepreneurs need. And ever since then, I think I look at home, I look at my grandmom, I look at my mom, my bua, my masis for the inspiration that I need to kind of channel into my work. So I think that was a very defining conversation for me.
That's beautiful, Navya. That's beautiful. Coming to you, Aditi, what has been that defining moment in your journey?
I think the defining moment for me was to talk about periods. 10 years back, nobody was talking about periods. I mean, men were going to Mars, women couldn't go to the temple. So, so I thought, okay, there has to be somebody who has to talk about the challenges women are facing. When it comes to period and periods taboo, periods were a taboo back then. It is a very trendy topic now, and that narrative has changed. But yeah, I mean, my voice was shaky. I had doubts, but I constantly kept talking about periods and building a period positive world. And Maya Angelou कहती हैं कि if a woman stands up for herself, every time a woman stands up for herself, not knowing and not even claiming, she stands up for all women. So I think the defining moment for me was always to stand up for myself and say that, okay, I'm going to talk about periods, I'm going to talk about period taboo. And that literally changed everything. And in the due course of time, it literally changed how India would talk about periods.
Wow. Shraddha, what about you?
I've had a few defining moments, actually. And I think the one thing that's common between all my defining moments has been, so I've changed careers a few times. I used to run a restaurant, I have Evo, and now I'm studying hypnotherapy. Very different things, but I think the one thing that defines me the most and defines my life the most is this thing that I have to keep learning. I'm still trying to figure out what my purpose is. And I think the most defining thing is every time I find something that pushes me towards my purpose on this planet, I just run towards it. And being an entrepreneur in itself is really defining to me, because it gives me this freedom to do this and to do that and to learn this. So yeah, I feel that my biggest, that's, I think, the most amazing thing for me right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you rightly said, you've been juggling multiple ventures. You're now also, as I understand, moving into the wellness space. it can't be easy, right? Doing so many things at the same time. Tell us the challenges that you are currently facing in.
So the challenges in entrepreneurship that no one talks about, but everyone goes through, are failures. No one wants to talk about their failures when it's happening. When you're successful, everyone wants to tell you, "Oh my God, like I failed, but now I'm successful," right? When you're going through something, the world might not see it as a failure, and I'm very honest about this, right? But when you're going through it yourself, you see it as a personal failure. I'm not talking about in terms of numbers, but juggling a lot of things sometimes can feel like a failure because you feel like a failure. So I definitely feel like that's the most challenging part. And the most exciting part is obviously getting to do everything you want.
Great. Now we are coming to you. You know, you advocate for women's economic independence big time. What are some shifts that you are seeing in young women entrepreneurs and professionals, that are up and coming? What's different when you look at today's, maybe the younger generation, the up and coming founders?
I think it's taken us a while to get comfortable into these shoes because we had very big shoes to fill. I think the women before us and a lot of them here today, I think really set the bar very high when it came to, empowering the next generation of women. And I think for us, we're still learning. We're still learning how to, break those ceilings that we do face sometimes. We're still learning how to have more confidence in our abilities and our voice and our opinion. But I do think that what is different, with this generation of women, I think that we're very ambitious, we're very strong, we don't take no for an answer very easily. And I think based on all the advice that we have been given from the women on the stage, I think that we are willing to fight back to a lot of the norms that often tell us that we don't deserve a seat at the table, or we can't raise our hand up to ask or question authority. And I think that that's something I've seen change a lot. And when it comes to economic independence, I think it's one of the most empowering feelings that I've had in my life and in my career. And I think that I would only hope that every woman feels that way and deserves to feel that way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Aditi, you spoke a little bit about the early days of the company, but there's one topic that I know that you feel very passionately about. About how women founders rarely encounter questions. Male founders rarely encounter questions that women founders do around marriage, motherhood, etc., etc. Have you personally faced such biases, and how do you navigate your experiences around, balancing your personal life as well as entrepreneurship? I know you're doing it today, so tell us about that.
I think right now the ecosystem that we belong to, it's very resourceful. There is no way that you can fail unless and until you're very lazy. If you're out there, there are people who will support you. But till the time you have done something substantial, even in your leadership position, wherever you are, you're already 30. And then your biological clock is starting to tick. And then you realize that, starting a family has a deadline. And you can't do much about it. So I really wish that somebody, when I was in my 30s, somebody told me that, "Behan, egg freeze kara lo." We are talking a lot about mentorship and we are talking a lot about going out there. But if you are in your 20s, behan, egg freeze kara lo. Because if you want to start a family or not start a family, that should be your decision. But then you know what happens? You start blaming yourself. What did I do wrong, or was I late? So your dreams doesn't have to be a deadline, and so does your family planning doesn't have to be a deadline. I also feel that I wish there were more leaders who put out the story more often, that how are they managing their kids while they are doing all the things and moving mountains. Other than Radhika Gupta and Melisha Mayer, I couldn't see that in public domain. That how are these women, like, who are looking after their kids? I get my kids to the office, and we have a separate space in the office where the kids can play while I'm building Menstrupedia with them, and it is amazing. But yeah, more and more women, if they can say this, rest other things are very similar to male entrepreneurs, as in mentorship mein kya hoga, funding ka kya karna hai, how do I increase my revenues, doesn't change much. But these are the questions that hits you, and it hits you hard, and it becomes very difficult to find out, because you doubt yourself ki how are they doing. So maybe, yeah, that is where I find more scope, where we can definitely talk more about fertility, more about family planning, a better conversation than saying कि अरे late कर दिया, you know, you are going to your gynecologist and saying कि आपने late कर दिया. And definitely, how are you building it along with having an amazing family life. We talk about balancing. Can we talk about, you know, harmonious life where you are aggressively growing your company and then again not worrying too much about the family because it is taken care of. And when the family needs time, then you are not feeling so guilty of taking time away. So work-life harmony and
Yeah, it's much needed, and thank you for bringing this up. I'm sure there's so many women in the room that relate to this. Navya, tell us, you know, since Aditi brought up the topic around biases, have you noticed such you know, challenges in your journey of building the ventures that you are running today in during your initial days, particularly being a young woman founder?
I think bias is more around age. I think I started Project Naveli when I was 22. I just graduated college and I was talking about very serious things. I was talking about menstruation, I was talking about domestic violence, I was talking about entrepreneurship. And I think the constant question and doubt came from the opposite side that, you know, you're too young to be doing what you're doing. You don't have the experience, you don't have the life experience. To be talking about such serious things that people study and, you know, contemplate their entire life. And I think that was the only bias that I think a lot of other younger people today face too, whether it's founders, whether it's you know, in the entertainment business, whether it's in the development sector. I think your age is constantly questioned and whether you're experienced enough. And I think just telling yourself that, you know, you're never too young or too old to stand up for the right thing. And those are the values that I grew up with, and I was always encouraged to voice my opinion and stand for what I believed in. And I was never told that age, whether it was, you know, too old or too young, was ever a factor that should stop you from doing that. So I think that's bias that I overcame in my journey. And I also feel that, you know, we're here today talking about self-made women with a brand that stands for self-worth. And I think these are also biases that the world doesn't put on us, but we put on ourselves. We often tend to doubt and question our own worth, our own confidence, our own abilities. I've done that many times. I think it's been a journey of, you know, me understanding my own worth. And you know, when we're talking about women of worth, I don't think that a woman of worth is someone who's possibly accomplished, you know, the largest business or, you know, has done so much in her life. I think all of us are worth something, and we all are women of worth. And I think, you know, whether that's in the entrepreneurship field, whether it's a homemaker, whoever that might be, I think that journey with yourself is a bias that we all need to overcome as women sometimes.
Very, very true. Shraddha, coming to you, you know, I mean, today we've done a bunch of video series around mentors and mentees, and mentors are important, is what I understand. How what kind of a role have they played in your journey, and you know, who have these mentors been, male, female? Tell us a bit about that, and what have been your learnings from that?
So, like I said, I'm always learning. I don't think I know enough about anything yet, and I don't think I will until the day I die. So, I have in my life, I consider two big mentors, and one I've been very blessed to meet just recently. So, my first mentor will always be my father. He is the person that has taught me the most about life and also how to live it with my head held high. And to be honest, a lot of the times, personally, I never felt there was a glass ceiling because he never made me feel like I was any different. I never felt like I was a girl or a boy. We were treated very equally. So I've gone through life like that. I also credit a lot of my business acumen to him. And he's the person I admire the most in my life. And the second mentor is someone I met very recently. I've become a lot more spiritual, and in this path, when I started studying hypnotherapy, I've met my teacher. Her name is Dr. Amita. She's who I'm studying under. I didn't think, once you, in your mind, achieve certain things, to go back and learn something from scratch can be a bit daunting, right?
Yes,
Because you're starting not from zero, from like -0, right? But she's made this entire journey of understanding life path, soul purpose, the subconscious mind. It's been so lovely studying under her. So I really credit actually a lot of who I have become in the past 1.5 years to the mentorship that she's given me. And she handholds me. So I do, under her guidance, practice certain cases. And I think she's made herself so available to me, and she is someone that's so invested in my growth. So yeah, I think these are the two mentors I've had in my life, and I'm blessed to have them.
Fantastic. As I understand, we're running out of time, so I'm going to take some closing thoughts from all three of you. Navya, starting with you. Looking back, what is the biggest lesson you wish more younger women knew at an earlier stage? Or what would you tell your younger
I'm
self?
still very young.
Even younger, maybe when you started out, when you were back when you were 22.
I'm still learning, to be very honest. I whenever I get asked to share advice, I get very
Yeah.
conscious because I don't think I'm in a position to be giving anyone advice.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I would
sure there are lots of women that young girls that look up to you.
I would say though that I think what I talked about earlier and something that I would go back and tell myself is to know that I'm worth something no matter what I achieve in life. I don't have to get the best grades at college. I don't have to, run the most successful business. There will be times when there are failures, there'll be successes, but not to let my self-worth be defined by those things, but more it should be about the relationship I have with myself, and that should never change no matter what happens in my career, in my personal life, that my self-worth stays intact and continues to do so through all of that. So I think that's a lesson that I would tell myself when I was younger.
Nice. Aditi, what about you?
To be my biggest cheerleader, love yourself fiercely and cut
Nice.
yourself slack. Don't beat yourself up so much in order to just be perfect and just be out there, but you can cut some slacks. Yeah.
Nice. What about you, Shraddha?
It's okay to dress well and dress different and still be considered a serious business person and chase your goals.
Nice. Great. Thank you so much for your time, all of you. This was a fantastic conversation. Thank you.